Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is June Archer. I am your host, and today we have the incredibly talented Jalyn Hall from The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. Jalyn,
Thank
welcome to the show. How you doing today, little brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Man, I can tell you this with all sincerity. I'm so proud of the work that you've been doing to be such a young actor doing roles from playing Emmett Till to now playing the son of Reggie Dinkins.
Yeah.
Uh, how has your life changed, whether dramatically or slowly, as you
Mm.
have been growing in this art form?
Oh man, so much and in so many different ways, maneuvering growing up is complex as it is. But doing it in this business and in this industry, in this world has been something of like it's actually been a treasure because you get to learn about yourself in different lightings, in different situations. When you're posed with different roles, like Emmett Till, you get to have that up close and personal experience that warps how you think, not only about yourself, not only about your history, but the present and future. And what are you doing to change that? And how do you want to impact the world? When you're working on the fall and rise of Reggie Dinkins, right? When you're making people laugh and you're learning the how genuine people are. I'm taking, lessons from Tracy, Bobby, Erica, Daniel, everyone on the show, and I'm taking all of this information and I'm soaking it up, and it's helped shape me into who I am today. So I would definitely say growing up in this business has been a crash course in, learning who you are.
Now, for those who don't know your story and how you begun, tell us a little bit about how you even caught the acting bug.
Oh man, since I was young, I've always been an entertainer of sorts. I remember being like just in the foyer of the house, just dancing. Like when Vine was out and all this type of stuff, I would dance and I would put on shows. I would do like what was it? Plays for the school, and I would memorize everybody's lines, and just really had the knack for entertaining and being creative in general. And I remember my mom was working in a hair salon. She owned a hair salon. And Candy Burrs had posted on her story, it was for a performing arts school. And they had a showcase, right? And it was like, if you feel like, your child wants to do this and this and that, bring them down to the showcase, da 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 da. So my mom takes me, right? I'm on the edge of my seat the entire night. They're doing monologues, they're doing dance numbers, they're transitioning. They'll go in the back in one outfit, come out in another one in 5 seconds. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I'm loving this. And at the end of the show, I look at my mom and I'm like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And no one in my family had, ever done, acting or anything of the sort. So like I was just a really small fish in a really, really, really big pond. And when I got there and I'm learning my first lessons, I stumbled. I went through my trials and tribulations, but that only grew my love for it even more. So by the time I booked All American, I was ready to roll and just learn and thrive in the business.
Everyone doesn't get that chance, Jalyn. So tell me, how important is it to have that support uh, for not just your mom, but to have a village support you in an industry where people say, "Oh, so you're going to be a struggling actor," instead of thinking glass half full. How about a working actor? How
Yeah,
important is that support system?
it's very important. Fun fact about my mother is she actually sold the hair salon to fund our trip to LA. Um, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't know we had actually went broke by like my third audition, sleeping in cars, the whole thing. And she did a really great job of keeping me away from like the thought of it. Cause like when you're young, you just like go with what everyone tells you. You're like, okay, what I'm saying, we're just gonna nap in. I'm like, okay, cool, we're just napping in the car. Um, but she never gave up on me. But I think there was a time where she not I think there was a time, but by the end of it, she was like, Jalyn, we might have to go home. And I was like, Mom, I promise I'm gonna book something. By the end of that week, I had booked two things, and one of those things happened to be All American. But I say this to say that having a support system that is willing to sacrifice for you is crucial in any aspect, especially in this acting world because you know more than 50% of being an actor is being quote unquote unemployed. But you can't look at a job as just being booked. You can't look at this art form as just being booked and on a show. It has to be something that you love in your bones. I love the artistry of it. I always think, even if I don't get this audition, I can't wait to see who books it. And I'm gonna be sat down watching it, because I love the art. So if you love something so much, then saying like, oh, you're a working actor or you're a struggling actor, I feel like we can knock those words out of the way. I love acting, I love film, and I'm working. So yeah.
Jalen, hug your mama for me. Because not only are we going to be continuing to root for her and rooting for you, we're going to be rooting for all of the young people like yourself who have big dreams. So it almost seems like we were talking about the fall and rise of Jalen Hall, but
Yeah.
now let's transition. Um, what has been the best part of working with the most talented comedian that we know in our generation? I'm talking about me. Uh,
Indeed.
my brother Tracy Morgan. How has it been to be on set? I know everything ain't all serious with this guy. So,
Yeah. I mean,
how
it
fun
it
has it been?
almost never is. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like one thing about him is that throughout his and that's one thing that's super duper crazy about like his ability in the comedic stance is he tells a story, right? And like you never know where it's going, but once you get there, you're like, wow. So we'll be sitting there, he'll be joking and going, and you just like hysterically laughing, like guttural laughing, especially me. He be getting me all the time. But in the midst of the story, there'll be a gem that comes at the end that like you'll be like, wow, like you actually really just dropped some knowledge and touched us at that. And that's just really what you get with Tracy. You get a genuine, caring, hilariously personable guy that just gives and gives and gives all of that each day. Every time you see him, it's the same Tracy. And I think that's what I love about how authentic he is. And it inspires you to kind of be the same way. So I've been learning from him, having conversations. Definitely family now. And that's one thing actually that he says is that like, we're not a team because teams lose. We're a family because when you have family, you never can. And that's one thing that's really stuck with me about him.
I want to talk about your TV mama, my good friend Eric Alexander, and
Yeah, yeah.
make sure you hug her and kiss her for me as well.
I
Uh,
got you.
she is a force. She is a veteran in this business who continues to reinvent herself. What has been one gem that you've learned from Erica Alexander while being on set with her up to this point?
Oh my God. Integrity.
Mhm.
Watching her work has been such a treat because she's so surgical in her craft and she's also collaborative. And those are two things that are very important to have because one thing about it is like she's gonna know her character like the back of her hand, right?
Right.
She's gonna know where she wants to go with that character. She's gonna know what that character is thinking in every scene. And she can also come in and collaborate with the writers, collaborate with directors to make it that much more amazing. And that's something that you don't get all the time. Sometimes you have people, who think like, okay, like this is my character. I know what's right for me. And sometimes it may not translate that way on TV. And then
Right.
there are also sometimes where, we're just gonna listen to, whatever the director says, whatever the writer says, and then it can feel like unrelatable or inauthentic. But when you have that beautiful symphony like she does, you can make magic. And we've seen it time and time again in her
Yes, we have.
amazing career.
Yes, we
Um,
have.
but but as a person, she loves to give us all the wisdom, and then give us the laughs as well. I always like to say that her and Tracy are alike in a lot of ways that I don't think they see it quite yet, but they're super alike.
What are you looking for as we wrap up to where your arc is going and what is next for you in the near future that we can continue to pray over you and make sure that the village outside of what you have right now continues to not only support you but love on you, Jalen?
Thank you so much. What's next for me? You know, God guides my path. So I'm super excited to see what He has in store for me. As far as work goes, I want to keep diversity in my career. So you might see me in some action. You might see me in some adventurous story. But as of right now, you can see me in the Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the incredible Jalyn Hall. Please check him out. Check your local listings. The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. Jalyn, thank you, brother. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you need anything, make sure you give me a call. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Winner Circle. I am June Archer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check him out, like him, follow him, and make sure you check out The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. Peace.